Welcome everyone to another episode of the Soup Bowl. I am your host, Renee Murdoch, where we get a little grindy and get a little dirty, but we talk about how it gets messy leading our lives. So it was nice and sunny out today, and it's still today. But it was really sunny. And then all of a sudden, we got this overcast, right? And so I'm gonna have to give me a studio or something with some really good lighting or something like that. But I really like the kitchen. I like this area. And so we're gonna work with it today. People, we're gonna work with it today. And Muscle is very lucky as well because I'm his personal door man, door person, right? And just before I was gonna start recording, here he comes knocking on the door again. Now he's lucky because if I had started, he would have been outside. He would have been waiting till I got done. But we kind of like him around here, so I'm a little sensitive to old Muscle back there. So he's always got to get in the picture, trying to get his little shine on. That's okay. That's all right, But hey, today has been a great week. What can I say? Nothing to complain about. Just positive vibes around here. There's a couple of things, that I putting out there and putting my thoughts out there into the universe, into the world. And hey, it lands where it lands. This is where I'm at right now. Don't judge me. I'm not judging you. Right. So when we're talking about leading our lives, and so first, before we're leading others, we must lead ourselves. We must know how to lead ourselves, and we can lead other people effectively. Because if we don't know how to lead our own selves, then we don't know how to lead people effectively. It goes to show that if I cannot lead my life with a good balance, right, then I'm going to be out of balance when I am leading others. I'm going to be out of balance in my conversation, in my expectations, because I am out of balance, right? So, for example, if I am constantly putting my family on the back burner, right? When it comes to building my personal relationship and spending time together or whatnot, but then I'm putting all this energy into my work, right? And then I'm looking at my relationships at my area of work or responsibility, and they are not solid, they're not good or whatnot, it's because I don't spend time putting in the work. Or when I do have time and my expectation is for my family to stop what they're doing because now I'm available and they're not, right? So that is, it is really out of balance where, I should not be putting so much energy and work into my either business or even my job versus putting that same energy, right, and even more into my home life, right? Because a lot of times we say we spend more time with people on our jobs than we do with the individuals that we live with, considering whatever our situation might be. And so it's even more important to spend time with your loved ones, right? And so we can find ourselves out of balance a lot when we are on the grind, right? And so if you're going to be on the grind, have that conversation with your family first. Let them know what you're doing. What are you going to be doing? I had to have a conversation with my family when I was going back to school. And I had to set some clear guidelines. I had to, first of all, talk to my husband and say, hey, this is what I'm hearing. I believe I'm supposed to be doing this. Are you in agreement with me? What do you think about this? And so I got an agreement. Okay, now you're in agreement with me. So since you're in agreement with me, I need a system, right, that's going to work for all of us. And I need to make sure that I'm focused. And then I need to make sure that you all are supporting me. And then I'm supporting you too. So what I did was I blocked off time, right? Once I got off, I blocked off time. I was consistent in that. And I had to say, hey, between these hours and these hours, I am not available. If you see me, you really don't see me. I'm invisible. You don't see me here. Okay? And so there's another adult in the house. Go talk to that adult. If you do not want to talk to that adult, please know that you can come talk to me afterwards, right? And then as far as me and my husband's time or whatever, it was the same thing applied, but also just taking time outside of those days and putting things on the calendar like, hey, we're going to have date night. Hey, this is family time, and making sure if there was anything that, of course, that I'm supporting my loved ones on some of their activities or whatnot, I would take that same time that I used during that time to make up, right, for the time that I said that I was going to utilize for school. And so if I did not have that conversation, right, there would have been some issues. Why, Renee, why aren't you cooking? I don't like to cook. That's why I'm not cooking. No, I'm kidding. So I'm not cooking, right? Or, why isn't, the things that I would normally do. I think I pretty much kept up a really good schedule. But I do have to say that Murdoch really stepped up in the cooking aspect. And I think I'm going to have to take that back up again. I'm going to have to really, I'm going to need some, encouragement. I'm going to have to encourage myself in this thing because I really was getting used to not doing it on a regular basis, right? Like I was before. And so now I might have to pick that thing back up again. But there's a couple of things I would like to share, right, that I believe, right? There's a lot of things, but I think that these top things will get you on your way and leading effectively. Right? We say, to be a great leader, here's the 5 things that you must do, right? Or, to be this wonderful leader. Okay. First of all, I believe that everyone has the capabilities, the potential to be an effective leader. I'm not going to use the word great, right? Because great is, it has so many things that could be added to that, the way we look at like our own definition of what we determine to be great, right? We can say one thing is great, right? This is a great water bottle. Well, what makes it great? It's great to me because I know how much water I'm drinking every time I drink a full bottle of this. I know, and if I go get a second, I fill it up a second, then I know that it's that. And then the color, I just decided to land on it because I really couldn't find the color that I want to, but it's great, right? I made sure I got me a little baby bottom right here, whatever, and made sure I changed my top. So it's great to me. It's great to me. But it might not be great to you. You might be like, that's not my color. It's too bright. It's this, and that, whatever. I don't even like Hydro Flask. I want a Stanley cup, right? I want a 7-Eleven big gulp cup. That's all the Stanley cup is, people. Yep. The Stanley cup is nothing but a 7-Eleven big gulp cup. Okay, anyway. So it might not be great to you, right? So what's the definition of a great leader? No, but there are definitions of effective leadership, right? Leading effectively. One is knowing that when I look behind me and look alongside of me, that there are those that are following me. Do I see those that are beside me and follow me going ahead of me? If they're not, I would say, could we use the term effective leadership? Because they should be going before you, right? You should be pushing people, right? Not forcing, but right, pushing people into, right, what they are purposed to do. In whatever season, environment, office space that you're in, getting them to be the best version of themselves in that space. And even more, to the point where they was like, I outgrown this place. It's time for me to move on. I remember that one of my professors, during, a session or whatever, we were having this discussion, and they were just telling this story about how when they, worked at a particular organization or whatnot, and they had this individual working there. And so, you get your assessments or whatever throughout the time. And in this particular time, the person was, doing great work, but they had let the person go. Now, why would you let someone go that's doing great work, that's doing good work, that's meeting quotas or whatever, or that's, bringing in clients, things of that nature, keeping things run smoothly, communicating well? Why would you let a good employee go? And their answer was, because I knew that I was holding them back. Round of applause. Round of applause to that leader, to that professor, knowing at that time that there was more in that individual, and to keep them in that job was agreeing to the place of to the time and the place of complacency with that person. Because sometimes things have to happen for us to get moving, right? Sometimes we're comfortable in a place and we don't want to move. But to allow someone to go so they can go and do greater, so they can go do better, so they can go and walk into purpose and begin to cultivate even more that's inside of them. I do not believe that we are human beings here on this earth and that we can only do one thing only. I disagree with that thought process. I disagree with it altogether, because I believe that we are creative beings, and there are so many things, so many talents, so many gifts that are laying inside of us. And then how are those things cultivated? It is by the people, the surroundings, the environment that we are in. And knowing that we are holding people hostage. This is what some of us are doing. We're holding people hostage because we want what we want versus knowing what is needed for them. See, that's being an effective leader. And so there's more to that, but I just was like, wow, that takes honesty. It takes courage. It takes integrity. It takes integrity to be honest enough to say, I gotta let this person go. I mean, they haven't left. I'm gonna have to let them go. And even if they came to me and said that they were leaving, I have to be okay in knowing that they're going to do greater things, that I have given them all that I can in this space, in this environment, and bless them along their way. How many times are we as people that have been in positions and places to allow people to leave in peace and not chaos? To allow someone to leave and giving them encouraging words. For allowing them to leave and saying, go and do greater. Go and do greater. Right? All right, so one thing I'm saying is that, effective leadership is a continual process. It is not a one and done. You cannot read a book and then be like, okay, yep, I got it. I know all the tools that I need to know as being a leader. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because we are yet still changing. We are yet still growing. We are yet still processing. And so what you are thinking today is not what you might think tomorrow. Think about it. When you was 15, were you thinking the same way that you're thinking right now? No, you were not. Do you feel the same way that you feel about relationships that you did when you were 15? Do you feel the same way about your finances the way you did when you were 15? Do you feel the same way about cereal? What about bread? What about white rice? So you don't, because we're growing, right? And we've been in different places, and we've, been around different people and cultures. And so we learn different things. So that first thing is stay in the classroom. Stay in the classroom. Stay in a place of learning. Don't ever stop learning. And so if you're saying, oh yeah, I'm a part of such and such organization, and we take classes or we do services or we do whatever, right? And you don't go anywhere else. You don't read anyone else's books. You don't go to anyone else's classes. You just stay right there. Because why? Why? You're not growing. You're not staying in a position of learning. Staying around the same exact environment limits your thinking. It limits your thinking. You ever go back to your old neighborhood and possibly it's the same people that still live there? And you're having a conversation and you're thinking, man, I think they're stuck in time. Like, they're still talking about this. Or that you talk to the person and they like, oh, I'm this for life. I'm this for life. I'm Mob B for life. And like, oh, okay, Mob B. Mob B for life. Okay, Mob B. What are we doing? What are we, what are we doing being Mob B for life? So staying in a place of learning is listening to other people, conversations, learning about different cultures, learning about different ethnicities and people's backgrounds, learning about, where people come from, right? Why they think the way they do, going places. Because if I never leave my city, right, I'm not experiencing anything. When you're not experiencing anything, you're not learning anything. I didn't say everything was going to be roses and going to be so wonderful. But what I am saying is that when you get out of your comfort zone, you begin to learn things that helps, right, you grow. And it opens up your mindset to a whole new world, a whole new possibility. It gives you understanding of why people do what they do or why you even do what you do. So stay in the classroom. The next thing is build relationship. Number 2, build relationships. Well, I talk to people all the time. Oh yeah, I got these people. Is that a relationship or is that tranship? Oh, okay. You asked me what's tranship. Tranship is just transactional. Hey, I need this from you. You give it to me, whatever. And this is it's just transactional. There's nothing more to it. Oh, hey, how you doing? Yeah, great, wonderful, whatever. But having that type of interaction does not allow you to get to know the person, nor can the person get to know you. Because when you're building a relationship and you are in a community, a team, a family unit or whatnot, is it not important to understand the person of who they are, how they think, how they operate, where they came from? Do you know your team member's favorite color? Do you know, it's just like knowing your spouse, right, favorite color or whatnot. You're being intentional about it. So building relationships is being intentional. Okay, let me say that again. It's being intentional. Let me go ask them, what their favorite color is. Let me ask them what they did over the weekend. Oh, their child is graduating. Oh, their child is, starting the 6th grade. And then that school is going on or whatever, and you're asking questions about that because you're getting to know the person, right? So, and listen to what they're saying. Allow them to speak and learn from it. All right, number 3, listen with an open heart. So we talked about allowing people to speak and listen with an open heart. You might not agree with everything that they're saying, but having an open heart is being able to see and place yourself in that environment to gain some understanding of where this person is coming from. They might think this way because they grew up this way, or this was their environment, or there's multiple things of why people think the way they do or why they do what they do. But if I don't listen with an open heart, then I'll never understand. Or someone might say something and you're like, what? Like, and you just already jump to conclusions. But again, going back to when we're saying great, what does great mean? Great to me means something different than it means to you. So if I'm saying rainbow and I'm saying I think about a rainbow and you're like, no, rainbow is this, or whatever the case may be. And this is what, is it wrong? Is it right? But let us find out what the person is really saying. What is the context behind what they're saying? Other than just saying you're going off of your knowledge or your place on your map of what you believe it to be based off of your environments. Because we do it naturally. When we hear words, we immediately draw ourselves to what we believe it to be based off our environment. Not the other person, but based off of us. Can I relate to that? I'm relating to this because of this. But that's not necessarily what that person could actually mean unless they begin to explain or unless you begin to ask. And that's listening with an open heart, right? So think, and the next one, think big. Think big. Leaders are not trapped in a time span. They're not trapped in yesterday. They're not even trapped in today. They are looking beyond, right? They're thinking bigger, right, than what currently is happening. They're thinking about how this could affect, right, us overall. And then they're sharing that with everyone else. They're not saying no because I said so. But they're offering a different aspect, a different outlook of what that could be. If we do it this way, this possibly could be our outcome. But let's think about what if we did it this way? Let's bring it back to the overall vision of what's happening. I'm thinking big. I'm expanding my thoughts. I'm not caught up in things didn't go well in my conversation yesterday. Things didn't go well in my briefing yesterday. Things didn't go well. Like I'm not stuck there. But how can we move forward together? Not me moving forward by myself. Oh, I'm done with y'all, this and that, whatever. No, how can we still move forward together? Because again, remember, we're building relationships. That means building a community. And a community is not a solo thing, right? There's multiple people within this community. All right, and lastly, that we have time for is add value to people. Add value to people. If I'm going to make you a part of my team, and I hired you, or I brought you on, or you volunteered and I agreed, then why am I not going to utilize you for the great things that you can bring to this team, this organization? I mean, that's like having, right, your think about your family construct and say that the whole time, right, you don't ask, your children or whoever in the home to do anything. You never ask them to do anything. And so now you're running around doing everything. And you are burned out. You're tired. You become irritable. You become snappy. Because why? You're not adding value to people. We were created to join in the work. We were created to lend our gifts and our strengths, right, to the work. So if you have someone on your team that writes well, why not utilize them? You have someone on your team that can build things. Why not utilize them? If there's someone right in your house that just does a beautiful job painting, does a beautiful job, planting flowers or planting crops or whatever. Why not utilize them? Why not utilize them? You're adding value. Excuse me. When you tap into the strength of those that are around you. You disvalue them when you do not utilize them for the things that they can do best. They're not growing. They're actually stagnant. They're like ducks sitting in a pond, nowhere to go, because no one is pulling on them and tapping into that potential. Unlimited potential is what lives inside of each of us. So why would I want people around me and then not utilize people for what they were meant to do? I'm not focused on what they can't do, but I'm focused on what they can do. I'm also asking for their input. And I'm listening, again, with an open heart of their ideals. Because why? He said 2 minds are better than one. Yes, we can come up with all creative ideals. But there are some things that we are not able to see that others will see. Because again, we come from all different places. Regardless, because we did not all grow up in the same household. You might have grew up in the same community, but you still ain't grew up in the same household. So these are the things that's important to be an effective leader. Okay, bud. He's just always just trying to get in the mix. He wants always hugs and loves and stuff. Hey, but to be an effective leader, right? These are some things that we must keep in mind. That we are to stay in the classroom. We are to build relationships. We're to listen with an open heart. We're to think big and add value to people. Add value to people. Don't forget about people, right? Because we would not have teams, organizations if we did not have people. So people are the most important thing. People are the one that creates the process. People are the ones that get the work done. And so we need you. We need them. And how do we let them know that we need them? By doing those very things. See, the first one had to do with ourselves. Because again, if I am not leading myself effectively, then how can I lead other people effectively? And when we don't, we harm people along the way. Believe me, I have that t-shirt. And I'm not afraid to say that I wore it because I was not dealing with me first. And then I had this high expectation and demands that I would put on people. And that's not right. It just wasn't, effective. Right. And so what did that do? That harmed the trust, right, that I had in some people on the team. And so I just want to encourage you to keep those things in mind, but not only that, but to live them out each day. These are not ones and dones, but these are something that we must do continuously. Learning is doing it continuously. It's not taking one class or reading one book. No, but this is a continual process. Building relationship takes intentionality, and I must do this every day. I must reach out to people every day. I'm listening with an open heart. I must do this every day. Every conversation that I'm in, Or even if I'm listening to a podcast or I'm listening to something, on social media, or I'm in a meeting, I'm listening with an open heart. I'm not being defensive in what other people are saying, but I'm listening intentionally about what they're saying. And if I don't understand what they're saying, then I ask questions to get clarity. And then I add value to the most important thing on this earth. And that is people. We cannot do it without one another. And so I'm not going to disregard the great things that have been placed inside of them. But I am going to throw the confetti up every chance that I get. Because when I encourage people, then that is building trust, right? And it's building value to people. And it's tapping into their potential to where they can start to believe, dismantle those things that have been told to them that was lies along the way, that they can walk into their purpose. That's what it's all about, folks. That's what it's all about, people. That's what it's all about, fam. I throw them all in there. All right. That's what it's all about, Losos. So I thank you for just doing life with me, going on this journey with me. And hey, we're not perfect. It goes unsaid. But just know that, hey, we can fail, and we can fail effectively, and we must learn from those mistakes along the way, and it's okay. But remember, leading is teachable. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Until next time, peace, and don't be afraid to get a little messy and getting in the soup bowl.